Are you ready to join me in transforming fear to freedom? That's the objective of the show. Are you ready to explore with me and my guests? Are you ready to get into the deep and play? This is where it's at, and that's what it's all about. No medical advice here. Use discernment and decide for yourself if the information is right for you. All views and opinions expressed on this show belong to the individual and are not necessarily shared with the producer of the show. Want more details? Go to letsgetrealchattinwithcatherine.com. Now let's get real and have some fun. Who are we going to explore with today? Come on with me and let's get into the deep. Welcome back to Let's Get Real, Chattin with Catherine. My absolute pleasure to be sharing with you in this December 2013. Happy holidays to all of you who are celebrating one thing or another. For many people in North America, it's a big celebration of Christianity, of the birth of Christ. And I always feel so excited at this time of year with all the lights, all the magic, all the joy, all the people wanting to share peace and really, it brings us to this place where we really feel like we want to express our friendship. We want to express our joy. We have hope. And of course, children are always so filled with hope, filled with joy, filled with that expression of love. And I think that Christmas always brings out the children, the energy of children, and we want to make it special for the children, but that also brings it to that child within us. And so I'm really wishing all of you, whether you're celebrating a Christmas or not, to really just allow yourself to be in the magic of the energy, because I feel like the vibration gets higher for a lot of people. And I also know that some people don't feel joy. They have a lot of maybe memories from their own childhood that wasn't very happy. And really, I know this is just a brief message because we're really going to get into this chat with Shelly Dressel in a moment, but I wanted to take this moment to say to you, if you're not feeling as happy as you could be, the best therapy sometimes for that is to get outside of yourself and do something for someone else. There is nothing that will make you feel better than doing something for someone else. And that could be as simple as smiling at a stranger. It could be as simple as saying hello, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. It could be as simple as saying, can I give you a hand across the street? Somebody drops something and you pick it up and give it to them. Anything. It could be that simple, and it could make the difference in how you feel. We think we're doing things, we do things for other people because it makes them feel better. But in truth, it's reciprocal. We always feel better when we reach out and give someone else a hand. So if you are feeling kind of down, you're maybe not around your family, or you are around them and you wish you weren't, step outside of that energy and find a place to laugh, find a reason to be joyful, because you're here on this planet. You matter. You matter, or you wouldn't be here. And that's a really powerful message I wanted to make sure that you hear from me this holiday season. So now we're going to get into a really awesome chat with Shelly Dressel, who's joined me several times. You can go back and listen to previous chats we've had. It's 2013, the end of the year. We're going to be talking about some things like the energies that are happening around these holidays, and of course the winter solstice as well. So, and Shelly is so comfortable in channeling energies, the goddess energy, as well as archangels and Saint Germain. She's been doing a lot of channeling of Saint Germain lately, and it really tells us that this celestial help from other dimensions and so forth is available. We only need to ask. And Shelly gifted us all by opening to her gifts a number of years ago and allowed herself to be that vehicle to allow in this information to help us all in understanding what's happening to this planet, because we are going through some very interesting times. And also I want to let you know that I highly recommend Shelly for personal sessions. I have worked with her myself. She is so comfortable to work with, easy to work with, very grounded, down to earth, and you can work with her distantly and get all her information on her website, goddesslight.net. She's on Facebook and other social media as well. You can also, if you didn't catch this, go to the guest link on the Let's Get Real chatwithcatherine.com. It says guest tab on the top navigation bar. Click on it and you'll see all the guests, and some of them have profile pages, so you can go there and get information on their books, their music, their whatever they're doing. And in Shelly's case, she has a lot of things. She has meditation CDs, she has private sessions, she does group channeling, she does a lot of things to help serve in this way. And also she's a nurse in her other world. So she has that medical background as well, which helps her very often when she's talking to someone about a medical situation. So we're going to get into this with Shelly and find out what's going on with all these energies. Can't wait. Come on, let's go meet Shelly. So welcome back to Let's Get Real, Chatting with Catherine, and my guest today, Shelly Dressel, a great channeler of Goddess Light and dolphins and Saint Germain and all kinds of other things. I'm really excited, Shelly, to be having this chat with you today. There is so much going on the planet and people's lives, shifts and changes, that I hardly even know where to start. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I always appreciate, Catherine, having this time to spend with you. As most people may know, if we look back through your archives and everything, you and I have done a number of these chats, and every time we set the intention that we're going to get together, we're going to have a talk, we're going to see what comes up, we both are like, okay, who knows what may happen, but everything already is in place, and we find that it always just unfolds. So I love this time to be able to come and talk with you. I love this time to connect to all the people that have found you through your wonderful interviews. So thank you again for having me on here.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm in this space right now. It's December 16th.
16.
See, I don't even know what day it is. December 16th, 2013. Excuse me. And I feel like it's almost like being in a new, it really feels like a new paradigm. And I'm feeling that I haven't sat down and really looked at what's happened in the whole year. There's a few things that stand out for me, but it feels like we have really shifted, and there's some big, we're coming up to the equinox, solstice, the winter solstice for us, the equinox for the other people on the other side.
The summer solstice for the other.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a full moon is I don't think it was completely full last night, but I think it will be tonight or tomorrow night. So, and we're coming to the end of the year, and we've had a whole year now since the doomsday prophecies. We're past all that, so oh yeah, we're still here. But there is so much going on, and I just want to throw some stuff out and see where we want to go with it. But the other thing that came to me is the layers of truth that are coming out. They're coming out in a big way. You can really see some people's reaction to it, like don't want to know, politics, social systems, Nelson Mandela crossing over, so that, that left a big, it's like, woo, big energy leaving. And then we have all of these things happening on the earth. There's been some discoveries in the last few days that I've noticed. I'm sure they weren't discovered in the last few days, but it's come to the awareness. Like, they found stuff that was over 300 million years old on this planet that was actually made, manufactured, like aluminum, which is not it's actually was manufactured. They found some wheels from cogs in a wheel. It's technology, 300 million, I'm pretty sure it was million years old. They found Noah's Ark. They found they found the actual ark and the stuff that was what was made inside. So this is starting to come to our awareness that we aren't the first people, or we aren't, what we think of as prehistoric or whatever.
it seems like there's a lot coming to the surface. That's what I want to say, Shelly. A lot coming to the surface.
Well, for those that are listening to this for the first time, I channel the goddess of creation, who is the feminine aspect of source energy, which is like the feminine aspects of God. And I also channel a lot of the ETs and a lot of the angels and guides that work with all of us as that we are as the humans. And so I wanted to preface that with everybody, because as you were talking about all these many things, I could hear a lot of the ETs and I could hear a lot of the people saying, yep, it's time. Now it's time. Everything happens at the right time. And we as humans can become so frustrated when we say, it was time last month and why didn't it happen? Or why hasn't this happened? Going on and on. And you know, it is very difficult sometimes to know when is the right time, and to just relax and to understand that there is a better way for things to happen, and that things do unfold in the way they need to. Sometimes it's about personal growth. Sometimes it's about the evolution of the planet. So with what you were talking about, that was in essence the evolution of the planet. When you talked about doomsday last year, the solstice, winter/summer solstice last year, was the actual completion of the shift of the earth itself going into the fifth dimension. So what does that mean? What is a dimension? Sometimes people will call a dimension a shift in consciousness, meaning the vibration that an individual emanates as they consciously live their life is vibrating at a particular level. There is the go ahead.
I just want to point out to people watching. So this has happened before, Shelly, and because it's happening now, I want to point it out. We have, as Shelly's, you see her smiling now. She's sort of calm. She's just listening. The picture is clearing. It's like you're very clear now. It's just perfect. And when we started, it was really clear. And when she said there's energy in the room, no kidding. You can see it moving around on the screen, Shelly. You can see how the picture will become a little cloudy. So I just want people to know it's not anything to do with the picture. The picture's clear. And then when she starts moving and her hands start moving, you can see the energy flowing from you. It's quite something to see. So I just want people to know it's not a technical problem. This is how energy is, and our technology is just not quite up to picking that up.
Well, thank you so much for pointing that out, because I know you've told it to me before, and I was like, oh, okay. I know what I see, I know what I feel, I know what I sense, but I love it when it comes through on technology. And this is a part of the difference, because as each of us as human, and okay, let me backtrack. So the collective consciousness of humanity is that which kind of encompasses all the thought process of humanity. People that, and you've got, 7 billion people upon the earth right now, 9 billion, whatever it is, it's a big number. Mm-hmm. So you have all of those people thinking their thoughts, having their everyday activity, learning, doing whatever it is that they're doing, and the majority of which are in their own little pathway, having their life experience. But all of that is actually linked. We are all linked to one another, and that alignment to one another is through the collective consciousness. And that is what's gone through a very dramatic change over the last couple of years. This change being the raise in the vibration, this change being that so many people, whether you call them light worker, metaphysicians, whatever word you want to give for them, it's in essence people that are choosing to live in a place that they are consciously choosing, to people that are living in a place where I want to clear the energy of the earth, or I want to clear the energy around me so that I feel better in whatever that place may be. Now, that's not to say that I have to fix anything for anybody else, because I can't. I can only do that which I can do. And and here's the cool thing about that is that I may do all that I'm doing so that I live in a better, healthy, happy state of mind, just as do the thousands and thousands or millions of other people. And as a result of that, it is creating a change in this collective consciousness that people don't necessarily feel about. They can't put their finger on what that is. But that is how the change and the transformation is taking place. Not only is it something that people are conscious of, but then the earth itself is continuously moving. I had a conversation with someone recently that said they were so stuck that they're not changing, that nothing's happening in their life. And yet I could see, but there's still movement, there's still motion. And so that person may be standing still, not having change in their life, but the earth is still moving around them. The days are still passing. Time is still passing. The universe is still creating its change that they do. So nothing is ever stagnant except for human perception. And that's why when people feel like they're stuck or people feel like nothing's happening, you can get unstuck and you can move in a new direction, or you can have another experience by shaking it off or looking in another direction or doing something that gives you a new perception that lets you look at things differently.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that a lot of times when you're talking, Shelly, just so people know, sometimes you get a download or you get information that just comes through. So she's talking and then all of a sudden it's like the information is not just Shelly, it's the consciousness of whoever's around you, because it's really remarkable to see. And you know, I'm just going to ask your the room full of entities, energy, to just try to help us to make this a little bit clearer, because like you're so clear right now, and then when you were talking, like it almost becomes it's magnificent to see, really, that because it's almost like we're seeing into another dimension, because we're seeing all this energy coming right on the screen. It's pretty cool. And I just want to say something about the stuck thing, you know, because I've felt like that myself many times. And sometimes I actually was listening to, Shelly does a YouTube hangout twice a month, and she does a channeled session, and you can watch it live, and then you can listen to the replay. And I was listening to the replay last night, and what I really, one of the things was about, we're not used to accepting right now, like just right now, we're here to accept that we've arrived, we are where we need to be. And when I heard that, I was part of, you know, I really recognized what happened to me in the stuckness.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel stuck because you're not really observing. Because when I actually stopped thinking that way, like I'm stuck, I'm not moving, when I started looking at what was happening in my life, people's interactions with me and whatever, I realized I had changed so much that I wasn't familiar with the way people were interacting with me. I had changed so much. I was clearly not stuck. I thought I was stuck. I was not stuck. I was integrating all this new stuff. I had become an entirely different person. So people's reactions to me or interactions with me were different. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had to, then that's what was, you know, really to sit down and look at where you were a year ago to where you are today, or 10 years ago. Wow, that's like a mountain chasm away, right? The valley. So, yeah. Well,
so it's
when you talk about stuck.
And that's what it is. It's perception. And if your perception is that my life, like you were just saying, my life is going in this direction, I'm trying to accomplish this, I'm trying to do that. And we as humans, you know, the energies like to tell me or the individual that it can be one of your strongest qualities and it can be one of your weakest qualities, is a person's mental ability. Because when people are having thoughts, and those thoughts create a vibration, and it creates a process, and it creates a structure that you live within, those thoughts can be very rigid, and meaning that there's not much leeway in what you can see around you, or those thoughts can be very fluid. And so this is what they're talking about with stuck energy. Sometimes, yes, you may be stuck in your emotions, but for most humans, it's that I have to accomplish this, and it has to look like this, and this is what I want. When the truth of the matter is that there are more opportunities available than any one individual knows, and that those opportunities simply look different than what you want them to look like.
Right.
Because Go ahead.
Well, because you brought up another thing that I had an experience of somebody had a post somewhere in social media, and they were asking about when something unexpected happens to you, like had you ever had an experience of something unexpected and tragic happening to you? And of course, with my son's death, that would be the big thing in my world. So, and I said, yes, and I think it is a matter of our perception. We choose life is going to happen, and it's our choice. We always have a choice how we're going to, deal with that. And I've written about that many times. I'm not going to go into all the details, but basically what I was saying was it is our choice. Life happens. We decide whether it's going to be a joyful or how long we're going to stay in joy or grief or whatever we're going to do. And this person was really... Somebody responded really in a very strong and strong. Well, what they said was they didn't like that. They said very clearly how we do not have free will on this planet. That's just wrong. And he was or she was saying, if you open your mind, maybe you will understand this. And I went, if I open my mind, that's interesting.
But yet you're taking away free will.
Yeah, but he's saying, we don't have free will. If you open your mind, you would know this. And I'm thinking, I think that's the one thing we absolutely always have. He was, yeah. So please, could you speak to that?
Yes,
do we have free will? Is that a truth?
That is the number one truth of being human, free will, because we spoke a few minutes ago about the collective consciousness and how that has an impact on everyone. When you are out in the universe or you're in a different dimension or having a different life experience, then that collective consciousness has a much greater impact upon people because, in other words, there would be no killing of someone else because you'd be killing yourself. There would be no starvation because you'd be starving yourself. And so the free will of the earth plane is the number one change and experience that people have as they come into this life. And it can be people's biggest frustration, or it can be people's biggest, joy. Because, I have the free will to change what I don't like. I have the free will to choose this individual to have in my life. I have the free will. And so to us, that's our biggest gift that was created as humanity came upon the earth.
Yeah.
And we wanted to share things, one more thing in particular along that line, is that people will talk about, I've lost my job, I've lost my home, I don't have any money, I'm struggling, I'm in a homeless shelter, I'm doing all these things. So yes, of course my life is crap. No, there's nothing I can do about it. Yes, this is, this isn't going to change tomorrow, so this is what it is. And so then when we come in and we look at that situation and we acknowledge in your physical reality you have XYZ going on. Yep, that's it, that's there. But what you can change about that is your attitude. You can change your perception. You can change the way you think about it. You can let yourself focus on things that make you scared and pulls you down, or you can look around you at something else that can bring you joy.
Yeah, even if the joy a country song after that. If you've had that experience, you get to write country music. It's all based on that. Something good can come of that. I mean.
Exactly. And then you'll make money, then you'll no longer be homeless, then you'll have the job you want.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you think about the very depths of, I was seeing the other night Chris Christopherson on something, and he was talking about the song he wrote, Why Me, Lord? Well, he had to be at the bottom of the barrel to write that, and it's touched so many people since. I mean, that's what I was saying, perception. It's how do I perceive my situation will be how I'm going to move on through life. So, and it doesn't mean you're going to be jumping up and down being, oh, I'm so joyful I have no home, or I'm so joyful I have no. It's not that, is it? Like that sounds, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is because that always sounds so flaky, and it's not about that. It's about a real feeling A real feeling of gratitude. Being able to find one thing to be joyful for. I'm homeless, but I have shoes on my feet. Yay. You know, something.
But you know what? Gratitude does not also have to be only in that manner. This is one of the things that the goddess did. If, you know, for people that might want to go back and look at that, there was a teleconference in November, and it's labeled "There is only love." And that is the bottom line. So when you're in a situation that you can't physically make a change right now, and it feels bad to you and you are struggling, you can't, when you begin to open up to only love, that's going to create the change. And it may sound esoteric, it may sound like it's you know, because as humans we want to do, and this is about being, this is about receiving, and that's the key. So when a person is in a situation that doesn't feel good to them, and instead they begin to just say, well, you know what, there is only love. There is only love. Now, if you're saying that from a space that feels shut off and not true to you, it's not going to do any good. But if you recognize that everyone as a human is connected to your divinity, you are. You may believe it, you may not believe it, but we can say 100% of the time, every single individual, you are connected to your divinity. So the love that we speak of is that love that is coming down into you from your divinity. Yes, it is amplified by we the angels. Yes, it is amplified by the God, goddess energies. Yes, it's amplified by so many different things around you that you may be unaware of. But ultimately, when you say, well, there's only love, then, and you begin to say, well, look, I've lost this, that, the other, but you know what? There is only love, and you can do it with a smile or an open or a joy. It's going to create amazing transformation in your life.
Yeah.
So that's how you get out of that stuck place. You quit trying to figure out, and say, for example, someone recently talked about the horrors that they've had in their life. And yeah, that's horrible. It is pretty darn horrible. Yeah, we agree. So the thing is, you can lament how horrible it's been, or you can, and people will, well, why would I create that? Why did I create that? And sometimes there's no answer. Who knows? It just is that it is. And so that's why it's so important when people are trying to get out of that stuck mode, is to quit figuring out why did it happen and just say, well, it just did. And to quit recognizing, and yes, we all ultimately are creating our life. Yes, that is what do you call it? The laws of the universe. So yes, you are. But when you begin to go in and say, well, why would I create this? Why would I give myself that pain? In essence, what you are doing is judging yourself. And when someone is judging themselves, you're being harsh on yourself and you're diminishing yourself, and it doesn't feel good. So again, there is only love.
Yeah, and the thing is too, though, when you talk about, well, we create our reality, and so does, you know, the other people around us. So when I'm, you know, thinking about, okay, because I actually had a person asking me this morning, they wanted my advice, and you know, I really don't give advice. All I can do is from my own experience, from my own understanding, I can give a little coaching, like that something might be helpful. But so something was happening to them, and what often I find is, if you look at events, look at the feelings that are coming up, it's usually something to heal. And if you, it might be like you say, okay, well, but I don't understand why I would create this. Sometimes we are part of somebody else's story too. So maybe we say, oh, why would I create that? Well, maybe it's so that you have the opportunity to, how you perceive it and how you react to it, that you're going to actually be giving a real amazing gift to someone else. Because I always say, nobody can live your life. Like, the things that have happened to me in my life, nobody else could handle. This is a reality. I get that. It happened to me because I can handle it. What happened to you is because you can handle it. And so that we can each bring our own gifts forward, right? So it's not just that I get what you're saying. Sometimes it just happens, and spending a lot of time saying, what, did I deserve it? Did I whatever, isn't really helpful. But what can be helpful sometimes is to see what's the feeling. I feel abandoned. I feel, because they're always usually survival stuff that really makes us crazy, you know. I've been rejected. I've been abandoned. I'm not loved. I'm not worthy. You know, people don't respect me, all those things. And they play out in different scenarios all the time. Right? So
exactly.
So that's what we just come. It's funny how all these pieces are sort of hanging there this morning. All these different little interactions I've been having with people. But that's the big one, and that's basically all I said to her. You know, it's up to you. You have the choice to look at this and heal it, and there's so, I mean, you know, Shelly's got some great tools that people can get. Really, we don't have time to go into every single one in this little chat. We've talked about others before, but if they go to your website, you've got meditations that are really helpful. You've got workshops that people can also participate in to help move through this. And that's the other part where I kind of wanted to go with this. Why is it happening now? There's so many people who it feels like the whole, I just want to say, the other day I was thinking, my God, I've spent the last 12 years focused entirely on waking up, healing, understanding that I'm more than my body. And it just occurred to me, like, wow, this is really what I and many others have been doing for this whole 12 years or more. Some people it's longer. And it seems like a funny thing that we've been doing. Like, it just seems like a strange process. And now 2014 coming around the corner feels like maybe now we can actually start living the things we've understood.
Well, you know, it's so funny that you say that, because we wanted to share that too. I think 2012 was that completion of the ascension process, as they called it. 2013 has been integrating the energies that came from that ascension process. 2014 is about saying, you've arrived, you're here. No more looking for it out there. No more looking for something else to be done. It is about, I'm here, I'm now, I'm moving forward. Now, some people may be listening to this and they may say, oh, I'm just starting. No matter where you are in your process, no matter where anybody is in their life, that acceptance that I am where I am, and it just is that this is where I am, is your jumping off point for the next phase of your life. And recognizing that it's not going to stand still, things are going to keep moving, then be in the flow. Be in the flow of motion, be in the flow of allowing, be in the flow of opportunities, be in the flow of whatever it may be to you, because of course it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think this is a lot of what's coming up this next year. You spoke at the very beginning about how things were being uncovered that had been not seen. The goddess kept saying over and over and over again this past year that the truth will come out. And that's exactly what this is. The truth, the knowledge, the awareness, the consciousness, that is all what's been coming out over the past year. And like, we're not going to go into politics either. But look at the changes that are coming out in public figures, whether they're politics, actors, no matter what they are. Things that they may have wanted hidden are no longer able to be hidden. And so then, of course, when people go into fear, oh, it's all going to come crumbling down or crashing down. That's the biggest fear that people have.
Yeah.
Well, significant change has to take place. It's when you go through a process that the earth has gone through over the last 2,000 to 3,000 years that has led up to this now moment, then change has got to take place. And we, as the energies of the universe, we as the angels, we monitor what's going on upon the earth. We do not want the earth blown up. We do, like with the nuclear bomb. We do not want that to happen any more than you guys want it to happen, because it's not going to benefit anybody.
Right.
And so there's a lot that is coming in terms of support that is unknown to the vast majority of people. but we're here. Wasn't it a conversation with you that we had back in the summer, was it, or sometime, that the person, I think it was in Korea or something, they were talking about the nuclear bomb, and should they have that knowledge, and they felt like, oh, he's too young, he's too radical, this is not, anyway, something had come up about a young person having the nuclear bomb, and everybody was up in arms saying, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. We were never going to let that happen. And we remember speaking in the interview with someone, whomever it was, saying, it's not going to happen because the universe has worked too hard to get to the place where the earth is right now, that we're not going to let that. That doesn't mean there aren't going to be earthquakes. There aren't going to be, the wars cannot be silenced in a moment. Of course, yes, they absolutely could. But when you're balancing the energies of all of these many, many people and the traditions that have led to where they are right now, it's not going to stop in a moment. But the foundation has been set up, and everyone is stepping into that foundation full force, whether they know it or not. That's what this last transition has been.
Yeah. And
when you look back over the millions of years, a transition led to an ice age. Another transition led to the flooding of the world, Noah's Ark. These transitions have led to very, very dramatic wiping out most of humanity, or a large portion of humanity. That's not happening here because you've got 9 billion people upon the earth to create stability. And even though people may focus on the negativity and that all these negative people and look what they're doing, that's a tiny, tiny portion of the 9 billion people upon the earth.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to remember, because there is much greater stability than what they realize.
Yeah, and I think that this is where, really, when you think about it, like, you hear it a lot. People focus on the 1% are controlling everything. The 1% has all the money. The 1% whatever. Well, they didn't get that on their own. If we didn't have the belief systems we had to support, that the old sayings, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The poor, or whoever you want to call it, the rest of the people, the 99%, bought into that. We did, and I mean that literally, because we did invest in them instead of in us collectively. Because it was like, there was this idea that, as if they were the big brother in the family, we send them off to college and make them prosper, and then they'll come back and help us. But it turns out they didn't turn back around, because they didn't have the belief we had. They had the belief you guys could do it too if you want to, but we didn't. So now that's shifting. That's what I see. Because we did talk about this before, about different realities. If you want to believe that it's going to be a struggle and a whatever, that's going to be your reality. If you want to believe it's going to be easy, it's going to be that.
Again, coming back to your mental process and to your mental body. Yeah. And that's what can be very rigid and keep you. And for some people, if they have a goal to accomplish, I want to run the marathon, I have to train to run the marathon, I'm going to do this to train it. That rigidity is very helpful to you. You're starting up a business. I have to accomplish this to start the business, and then I have to do this to start the business, and then I have to do this. So in all of these regards, it can be very, very helpful for you. But it can also then turn around and become limiting when you get to the point that it's reached its maximum capacity.
Right.
And that's what's happened to people. Because if you think of this too, like when the earth has shifted into this higher dimension, we always think of it, it's like Shelly's always going, rah, as she's expanding into the higher dimension. What you've actually done is you've used up, or not used up, that's not the right word. You've experienced the potentials that were at a particular dimension or level of consciousness. So now you've shifted and you've moved into a new one. It's got all sorts of new potentials and new ways of doing things, but it's because your pattern has been aligned with the other one that you need to make that conscious choice of, okay, here I am. Let me look at my life now. Let me look at my world now. Let's see what I want to have. Let's see what I can do with my life so that I can now bring it into something that really resonates with me.
Yeah. And so as we're, because this video will be showing over the holiday period, and I want people to, really be knowing that whatever it is they're experiencing, they can change it. They can change their reality. And yeah, no, it doesn't mean you're going to win the lottery tomorrow necessarily. You might. But I mean, this is why I feel like people do often put that kind of a thing out there. Oh, I need to win the lottery before I can do whatever. And that's a thing that they know isn't going to happen. People that do that, it's like they know they're not going to. So it's like everything else hinges on that happening, and they know it's not going to. But it just kind of makes it like as if it's... So I really feel like this is a time where we have been given these great tools, these understandings, we just understand a little bit more about metaphysics than we did in the last maybe 40 or 50 years. But the thing is, hundreds of years ago, people understood them very well.
Yes.
Right? So it's just a matter that this is, why I think it's so important to recognize there's tools out there. There's services available. And that's why we have so many people waking up to their gifts to help other people to move through this. Not everybody's going to have to spend 12 years navel gazing, as they say, or with internal, some people will, some people won't. It depends on your path, right?
We've never heard that term, navel gazing. That's hilarious. Well, let's say one other thing that's gone along with this rise in the dimensions and the rise in the vibration. Time is literally moving more quickly.
Yeah.
So when you think of time in the third dimension or the second, when you think of time in another perception, it was as if you had, and for a lot of people, it's like thinking back to when they were a child. It was as if you had all the time in the world and it took this long to do that. Well, now you have the internet, you have the phones, you have the satellites, you have all of these things that keep people connected to one another so that you didn't write a letter asking a question and then have to wait 2 weeks to get the answer. You get it instantly. So that's one way that is an illustration of how quickly time is passing. But also, as the vibration rises, it's literally thinner vibration. So to move through it, it's like moving through air versus moving through vapor. There's a difference in it, and it may be very subtle, and it may not be something that everyone really notices, but the movement is easier, and therefore the time can go more quickly, and therefore it is. So someone is looking to create a change in their life, they don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. They can tap into that energetic experience that maybe thousands of other people have already had and just say, oh, I'll take it from you. Okay, boom, and keep moving. Some people do need to have a very introspective, a very deep connecting within themselves in order for it to be real to them.
Right.
But many, many people do not. And also, this is what we love. How many people are creating these changes and moving and going through this, and they don't even know they are.
Yeah.
It's unconscious, and yet they're still creating changes, and they're still having experiences, and they're still moving forward. But they're not going home saying, what did I do today? Boy, did I expand my conscious awareness because I did this. The vast majority, absolutely not. So this is the way that the energies are working, and it's almost like it's working in the background or it's going on here, and people just find the vibrational alignment that takes them into that space.
Yeah. And you were mentioning, I believe it was on the channel you did last night, which, so for other people, I think it's December 15th, sorry. Or 15th, yeah. That people can go back to Shelly's YouTube channel, and I'll put the links on the video so people will know where to go. But you were saying that we are in the fifth dimension. We are in it. We are not I mean, there's probably some people who are actually in the 6th, 7th, or 8th, or 9th, or higher.
Absolutely.
And still on this planet.
And that have taken place before the changes that have happened over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Because if you were in the 1980s saying, I want to go live or vibrate at the 6th or 7th dimension, it was really not possible with a physical body. The angelic realm was at the 6th and 7th dimension. And when you think about the angels, well, I don't see them. They're not walking down the street here with me. They are, but not to people's visual eyes or not to their inner eyes for the average person. So by the harmonic concordance, the harmonic, convergence, those two things were big in the stair steps of opening up to this. So when we say that the Earth shifted into the fifth dimension last year, that didn't take place over 1 year and in that moment. Mm-hmm. That's been building and building and building for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And so as far as everybody living on the Earth right now, and we just had this flash of people looking back like, 2040, oh, look at that, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
The things that seem so different and so like, oh, what did they know? Or, they knew more than they thought, but whatever. So when you think back over the last 30 years, and when you think back to what was available, it is a dramatic change, and it is very exciting to be a part of all of that, and to know that now, yes, indeed, people are walking around in a physical way, aligning with those dimensions.
Yeah.
And so it is something to realize that that's another way of measuring. And physicists and a lot of different people are trying to now put the scientific reality on there, and some are doing it, but some are not. And so this then goes back into what we've sometimes spoken of is, does it have to be scientifically proven to be real, or is it real because you know it to be real? Mm-hmm. And again, that's a personal preference.
Yeah, but there are, certainly people that are watching this show probably, there are a lot more people who are starting to tap into their own sacred gifts, psychic gifts, and that kind of thing. And I think it's an exciting time. And like you said, we can draw on what other people are already doing, and we are becoming more telepathic. We are becoming more aware of our intuition. But sometimes people have that opening, and they're not really conscious of it, and they don't really know what to do with it or how to use it properly or to be in integrity. I have, not to focus on it, but I'm just saying to people, just because somebody can see dead people, as they say, sometimes I hear that and it makes me laugh. I see dead people, yeah, and so do you see the live people? That it's important to it's not these. I guess what I'm saying is these are amazing gifts, but they're not. It's circus acts. They're not like I can juggle. It's like it's something to be honored and to be. Make sure that you're as you're opening up to them. If you're not sure, I just suggest get some help from somebody who's been doing it for a long time, who you resonate with, who is in integrity, who isn't going around telling people, oh, you're going to die in 2 years, or you're going to, that kind of stuff. It's not really helpful. It's the, when you have, right. There's a reason for these things coming to us now. And that's what I'm really getting at. They're coming now, but sometimes we don't know how to use them, or we're not sure. What do you think about that? Is that what's happening? A lot of people are waking up to these gifts and don't know how to use them, or?
Well, it is true, especially when you have individuals that have been trained for their whole life to believe in what they see, to believe in what they've learned, to have the degrees or the knowledge behind them, and I can validate it because I went to XYZ school. And so those types of things are very much a part of what society has said this individual has arrived and they've accomplished. So when it comes to listening to your intuition, when it comes to, seeing the energies, when it comes to what you're going to do with that, you probably aren't going to get that at the university. You're going to get it through, whether it's coaching, through classes, through just your own personal development. It's going to be different, and so you're going to have a whole different perspective. And that's why when you're in these dimensions, these higher vibrations, it's no longer going to be about what's measured by society standard. Well, this is the Earth. There will always be that degree that is measured by society standard. But when everyone talks about their own personal development, their own personal growth, it's going to be solely on what resonates with you. What is your truth? What is real to you? What do you, and people will say, that's so selfish. And if you're selfish, that's not a good thing. Again, you're in judgment now, and you're saying that selfish is a bad thing. But what if selfish is saying, I honor and respect myself for the human that I am, and I know that when I'm in alignment with my divinity and I let that be the foundation for everything else, is that selfish, or is that actually nourishing, expanding an individual, and then actually creating way more things that they have to give to others?
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
I guess I'm feeling like it must be coming up a lot for people. So that's probably why I'm saying this. But sometimes, for instance, I like to bake. So I like to make cinnamon buns and things like that. I really like doing it, and I feel good when I do it, and I know they taste good because I put in a lot of love and my family loves them and whatever. And periodically over the years when I've done it, somebody would say to me, you should sell them. You should go into business. You should whatever, right? So I know this is a gift. The way my hands move in the dough, everything about it, it's not something I effort to do. It's very easy and I love it. But it isn't for me to sell. I don't feel like, I don't want to do it 24 hours a day or 8 hours a day. It's not a physical, right? It's a gift. I love it. I share it. I don't deny it or anything like that. So what comes to me is that we are all becoming more alert, more aware of our psychic gifts and whatever. Some people are going to be like you're channeling, you're sharing with more people, and you're helping a lot of people, and you're doing it in private consultations to help people. You actually had to, basically turn it into a business because it takes so much of your time. But there's other people who will have that, just like I do with my baking. It's not a business, but it's an awareness and it's a new way of living. And that's what I was kind of wanting to say, is some of it's going to be you're being called to go out in the public and share it because, there's a calling. For other people, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more just, it's a tool you now have accessible for your everyday life. Is that why this is happening?
That is, well, it's going to happen no matter what. It's kind of like the evolution of society and humanity is going to happen in such a way that people are going to now just be much more aware of the choices that they're making. Mm-hmm. So when you speak of, that's kind of an old belief system that I cannot do, if it's what I just do with love and joy because it's what I do from my heart, and then if I make it a business, it's now work or it's a business, then you're adding to it the energy of work that may have an old belief system that goes along with it, that is, your work is a hassle, your work is a pain, your work is, so in other words, whether conscious or unconscious, that's kind of the energy behind it. So when an individual is tapping into, like, say, for example, Shelly here, obviously then this is not Shelly speaking. She doesn't refer to herself in the third person.
That's very funny.
Oh, yeah, that lady that talks about herself in the third person, like royals in the old days.
That's funny.
Sorry about that. Oh gosh, that was very funny.
It was funny.
Anyway, but the point is that when you're in the vibration that's in balance within yourself, that's in balance with your life around you, when you're in the expression of that, you're going to find ways that will support you, whether it is going to a job outside of your home for 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. It's going to be something that you love to do, and it's going to nurture you and support you because you love being there. And no matter what your gifts may be, maybe you just have very intuitive insights when you're making a business deal and oh, this is a deal that's going to go well, or this one, I need further discussion about it. So there are so many ways that people use it, and it's not that it needs to be limited because you call it work or a job. But when people are in the vibration of what resonates with them, what brings them joy, what's really loving and supporting them, then we need to shift the modem, or the society needs to shift and say, well, then they're going to be supported by that financially. And finance and money is not a bad thing. Like so many people will say, oh, if it's spiritual, then money's bad. But whether it's the churches, whether it's the different foundations that are out there, no matter what it may be, if there's something that you are passionate about, then share your energy, whether it is giving gifts of money, whether it is buying the products, whether it is volunteering, no matter what it is. When an individual is in that vibrational alignment of what feels good to them, it can be expressed in a multitude of different ways. And then we invite them all to be open to receive the what do you want to call it? The prosperity and the abundance that may come in many different ways also.
I think I like that, the way you explained that. I just think that where I was kind of going a little bit too is that it's like when we evolved being in our language. So the masses of people speak a language, say English in our case, and a lot in North America, English is one of the main languages. So we all speak, but we don't all speak as part of our careers. Some people do speak as part of their careers. Some people, we just speak at home, we speak in our work, we speak in our daily lives. So what I'm feeling like is, we're raising the vibration, we're starting to recognize we're more than our bodies. We're all going to have more telepathy, more psychic gifts, more whatever. Some people are going to have a calling to be in service with their gifts. Some people will just use their gifts in their daily lives. So, like some people will just speak in their daily lives. Some people will be on a stage and speak, or doing other things. So I think it just feels to me like for years before, it was very rare the people that had, or it was very rare that they were aware of their psychic gifts.
Right.
Whereas now it feels like more and more people are becoming aware of them. So some people are going to be called to go out into the world with them and share their gifts in that way. Like you say, if it feels good, and that's what all of our whatever we're doing, sharing in the world, exchanging for prosperity and in money and all that. It should always be about, or not should, but
well, we're hearing something, and we're being reminded, because we can hear all those many people that say, yes, but I have to support my family. I have bills to pay. There are things I have to do. I don't really like my job, but it pays what I need to do. There's not another job available to me. So this we've come into contact with a lot of different people. And so what that individual needs to make that choice, that when something like that can be very detrimental to someone, if they go to the work, I hate my job, I don't want to be here, but there's nothing else available. That's all kind of a negative frame of mind. So you may have then an individual that's going to their job, they're doing what they need to do, it's supporting their family. It may not be what they really like to do, and they may want something different, but if they can find a place of acceptance within themselves, then you're just accepting it is what it is. Hey, we've said that how many times now today? It is what it is. But what that individual is doing is they're saying, I'm acknowledging that this is not really what I want to do with my life, but I am choosing this job right now for the many reasons that it supports my family, whatever it may be. And then when they begin to go into work, they find they're not as aggravated at work because they're honest with themselves. They're validating what they knew inside of them was bugging them about their job.
Right.
And so this is all creating a transition that, and this is whether you call it using your intuitive gifts or opening up to that love of your divinity again.
Yeah.
You are honoring yourself, you're respecting yourself, and you're not saying I'm going to be limited to this job forever just because it's all I'm stuck with, but you're saying this is where I am right now, and I am change it, and it is going to be different. But that individual that goes to work day after day after day, hating their job, just sticking their nose to the grindstone, they're not going to see what's around them. When they begin to feel good, honor, and support and recognize themselves, they're going to go into their job now with their head up, and they're going to notice, oh, hey, I didn't see that posting over there for a new job. Or they're going to see things around them. And this is that their intuition telling them to do that? Is that their, you can get over analytical about it, but the bottom line is about people finding what resonates with them and being honest and truthful about that. And that doesn't mean people need to go out and quit their job. They don't have to leave their marriages. They don't have to do all these very dramatic things.
Yeah.
But you can create a change within yourself so that you are honoring yourself. And as a result of that, it's going to create changes around you.
Yeah. And that, I think that's the key. That once that, again, we're back to our perceptions and our choice, free will. I'm going to, you're to recognize that you are choosing to go to that job, even though, you have to, like, that's silly. Why don't you just, if you actually, that would change your whole energy around it. I'm choosing, like you said, I'm choosing to go. It puts food on the table. It supports my family well. And I'm choosing to be happy when I'm there. Even though, like you say, it may not be here, but in that happiness, something else will come into your awareness and you move on. It just makes life so much easier when you understand that.
Yeah, it happens every time. And so this is what you've already seen it over the last couple of years where people are, well, maybe 10 years or so, where people are not staying in jobs. Now, are they moving job to job to job because it's expanding and giving them new opportunities and they're growing? Or are they moving job to job to job because they're actually unhappy inside of themselves? They're looking for it in a place outside of them. They're not finding it, so they keep looking in this outside and that outside and that outside, when ultimately everything needs to start within you, within your own heart, within your alignment with your divinity, and let that be the expression of how you live your life.
Right. As we're coming to, December, we're at December, and we've really gone through a lot of processes as we've talked about. And I'm just wondering if there's, other tips, because I'm really noticing how, the more I put my perception or my point of view onto the good that's happening in the world, the more I'm seeing that is good, that is joyful, that is wonderful. But I'm aware, I'm not, I don't have my head in the sand. I can see there's lots of shifts and changes happening. What do you think this upheavals that are happening? Like you said, we're not going to blow up the world now, which is nice to know. It's nice that we have help that is, sort of encouraging us to do other things. So do you see, as this more truth comes out, that with more of us sort of awake and aware and in a more of a place of neutral, because we know, I mean, let's be frank about this. Let's really, if we're really honest, we would say we've always known there's been corruption. We've always known there's been stuff going on. We've known. We just choose not to look at it. So now that it's kind of in our face because it's in all the news. It's in the, how can we move into our new reality, being responsible and yet not being pulled into that stuff that's going on?
When we look, because corruption was one of the things that you mentioned, when we look around, and we're not focusing on the U.S. or Canada, but we're saying worldwide.
Yeah.
When we look around at the people that are ready to step up to take whatever this government is, whatever the society is, to the next level, there are lots and lots of people that have that same focus of being open, being honest, what's in the good of all. So the people are there, and they're going to find their way to the forefront, and people are going to begin to say in a mass quantity, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. I want change. And then you're going to see people coming in and say, you know what? I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to run. This is what I'm going to do. The other thing that we wish to say is we're not condoning corruption. We're not condoning anything at all that's illegal or things like that. But we also see that society is so judgmental of people. They don't accept that there are human traits and that everyone upon the earth is a human, and they sometimes place people on a pedestal expecting them to be perfect.
Yeah.
To have no mistakes, to always make the exact right decision. And so that's setting them up to fail. Mm-hmm. So we're not saying that's an excuse for corruption when people consciously make a decision that they know is corrupt and not legal. But sometimes there are very good people and very wonderful ideas that just have maybe made bad mistakes in the past or whatever. And they're being not given a chance because they weren't allowed to be human. So as society is moving forward, especially in this next year, which is about expressing forth what you've integrated, look at everybody around you from the heart of compassion. That doesn't mean accept what you can't accept, but also understand that nobody upon this earth was placed here to be perfect and to never, ever, ever make a mistake. It is the making of mistakes and your reality and your choices for how you handle those mistakes that create the individual that you are. So we never judge anyway. We don't see it as a mistake. We use that word simply because that's what humanity calls it. We simply see people having experiences.
Yeah, and I was thinking that as we have accepted a certain level of corruption, a certain level of violence, a certain level, if we as a collective and each individually expect more. I mean, we just expect more. We expect to see people in their highest. If we expect to see the best in people, because it's, the old law of attraction thing going on, we've projected onto some of these industries the very worst. And if we maybe turned around the way we speak about things, the energy involved, like expect corporations to be responsible, expect politicians to be responsible and respectful, like expect more from ourselves and expect more from what we're creating. Would that not change it just by...
Well, absolutely, and that's already been taking place in the under energy, and that's the energy that's now rising to the surface, and that's now what's going to be expressed by humanity.
Okay.
So absolutely.
All right.
Now, what we're hearing as soon as we said that, because we always like to hear the comments that people have out there that are listening to this later on. Yeah, exactly. We hear those, oh, you're so naive. Oh, you have your head in the ground. Oh, who do you think you are? That's not true. You're just kidding yourself if you think that's real. And there are people that are going to hear this conversation, and that's exactly what they're going to say.
Okay.
And then in their reality, that's exactly what's going to be going on.
Yeah.
But there are going to be other people that are going to hear this, and they're going to say, I acknowledge there's a lot of crap going on right there, but I also acknowledge that they're trying to turn that around and that they're trying to do that. That's being honest, accepting, encouraging, and that's what and we're talking industry here, but think about it in your relationships. Think about it in families. Think about it in so many different things. And think about teaching. Well, you don't have to teach it to children. Children instinctively know that. But how about if they had a society of teachers that supported that and encouraged that type of thinking within them, instead of you're wrong, that's negative, instead you're saying, oh man, bad idea there, but hey, how are we going to do it going forward?
Yeah.
Then you're emphasizing and bringing in that which truly supports them.
Yeah. And always bringing out the best in people. Like I always say, people rise to our expectations. And if our expectations are way down here, that's where they're going. And
yeah, and they already said it, didn't they? All the junk.
I know. And so I heard a little conversation the other day, and people said, have low expectations of people, and then you're never disappointed. And I thought, that's
how sad.
How sad, exactly. So on that note, if you don't have any other information that you feel you need to share, I'm sure we'll speak again in the new year, and who knows, 2014, wow, we'll be having something. But so I really want to thank you, Shelly, for joining me, and also to encourage people to go. If you want to work with Shelly on a personal level and get into some of this stuff a lot faster and for your own private life, then go to the guest page right on Let's Get Real chattinwithcatherine.com. Scroll down, you'll find her name, or go directly to www.goddesslight.net, and then you can connect directly with Shelly there, right? Yep, anything else you want to...
Indeed. So as you mentioned, Catherine, this is Shelly. I've been in and out of channel, and when I do an interview like this, I just expand my energy, and it's almost as if we're all one being that's speaking, and that's why they refer to me in the third person sometimes, and sometimes I'm sorry, yeah, me, hello, and so it's something that, because I do it all the time and I'm comfortable with it, and I've allowed these energies in, it's just a very natural flow. And in fact, there have been times in other situations when I'm not channeling or not doing anything, and someone will say, oh, that's your channel voice, or oh, that's your, it's like they realize and they hear it. So maybe that's the expression or the experience that people are going to be having. They're going to realize that they're going to say stuff, and I don't know where that came from, but I kind of liked it. And that's the opening up, and that's a part of what people are going to be experiencing as they embrace their gift. And when people hear things and they think, oh, where'd that come from? You can choose to say, I have no idea where that came from. I therefore don't want it to come in. That's shutting things down inside of you. Or you can choose to say, I like that idea. That was kind of fun. Let me go with it. Then that's how you're going to encourage it and bring on more and more and more. The message that we have at this time of celebration is that of celebrating. People, whatever your beliefs are, you like to celebrate. It's important to celebrate that you are human. It's important to celebrate that you are upon this earth living your life. And we would suggest to you, celebrate and enjoy your life and enjoy all the gifts and the potentials that are there for you. Because there are limitless gifts. There are limitless opportunities available to everybody.
Woohoo!
And woohoo! And it is there. And it is our joy to give to you as much as we may.
Whoa.
Ansaluia.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Shelly. That was fantastic.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Isn't that amazing? Thank you to my guests for sharing with us today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share the link. You can join us for live shows by going to letsgetrealchattinwithcatherine.com and listen to the replays from the show page, preview guests, and explore links to our Facebook fan page, WordPress blog, and more. We are creating an exquisite world. Until next time, take care.